Hi authors and readers, I hope your 2025 has gotten off to a wonderful start. In light of the new year, I wanted to talk a little bit about book trends, predictions for 2025, and some of the genres I'm expecting to be popular for readers this year. Obviously, there are a few things that are true every year, like self-help is going to be the most popular nonfiction genre, and contemporary romance is going to be the most popular fiction genre. That's true every year, but I want to get a little bit more specific than that, so let's dive in. If you're new here, my name is Corey. I am a full-time copy editor and I do freelance fiction editing work on the side, and I like to read anything and everything. So those are my credentials. And with that, let's get into this video of book trend predictions for 2025. But first, just to recap, I wanted to take a look at what was really popular in 2024. And to me, the two subgenres that stood out the most were romantasy and psychological thrillers. I actually went through Amazon's top 100 list for 2024, and those two were the most bought fiction by far, which isn't really a surprise if you're a reader and you read a lot in 2024. I mean, think about the popularity of authors like Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, who quite literally took the romantasy world by storm. Get it? Storm. And then there were the massively popular books like Kristen Hanna's The Women and Frida McFadden's The Housemaid series that I'm pretty sure everyone and their mom read in 2024. So it's really no surprise that those genres dominated last year. But what will dethrone them in 2025? Here are a few of my predictions. When it comes to the romance genre, I think we're seeing a huge expansion on the back of romantasy, where people don't just want the romance of chick lit or erotica anymore. People are really starting to embrace romance seeping into every aspect of our lives and therefore every genre that we read. So I think we'll be seeing less of that general contemporary romance and a little bit more creativity and genre mashing a little bit. I'm particularly leaning towards paranormal romance, sci-fi romance, and maybe thrillers with a little romantic twist on them. One of these that is coming out in 2025 is Alchemized by Sin Lee Yu. And this book is a paranormal romance that follows a healer who becomes a prisoner of war, and they're marketing this book as the book that Hermione fans have been waiting for. So that should give you a sense that it's going to be a little bit dark, a little bit sultry. In my research for this video, I also took a look at some of the book deals that were made in late 2023 and early 2024, just to see what kind of books were going to be coming out this year. And I actually found something that is a little bit interesting. I saw a lot of themes around politics and war with the books coming out this year. And I don't even mean just nonfiction, I'm talking about in every single genre. It's just something that's on people's minds right now and is very topical. So I think we're seeing it kind of seeping into our media now, and not just in the nonfiction side with memoirs or political commentaries, but also in the fiction genres as well. Particularly, I'm predicting a rise in exploring the themes of war and politics in historical fiction this year. And I'm not just talking about war explored in the US, because we all know that settings like World War II and the Civil War are hugely popular settings for historical fiction novels, but I'm talking about war and politics in other countries. And I'm actually pretty excited about this because I think historical fiction kind of gets a bad rep as being a little bit stagnant, a little bit like the same things are overdone all the time. So I'm interested to see how we take a new twist on the genre and bring a little bit more life back to it with looking at other countries and other time periods outside of the US. One that sounds really interesting to me and is widely anticipated this year is Like We Do Not Part by Han Kang. This book is set during the Jeju uprising in South Korea in the 1940s, which is a huge political turning point for the country. So this is just one example, but I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about that through this book. And one more thing that I kind of want to address about book trend predictions is I think we've been seeing a lot of escapism reflected in the entertainment industry in the past few years. I'm thinking specifically starting around like COVID times, people just wanted to get away from this world and fully escape into something else. Now I think we're seeing a turn where people want to get back into these things that are really important to them and really affecting them in this world, and how they process that through their art and through writing. I don't think people have the time or the mental energy to fully immerse themselves in fantasy and science fiction that takes 300 pages of the first book of 6 books in a series to even wrap your mind around the world that you're in. So I think we're gonna see readers kind of leaning towards a more accessible version of fantasy and sci-fi through blending it with genres like historical fiction or even contemporary settings, because people already know those worlds even if they've never experienced them. Like if it's a historical fiction novel, you already have a sense of that world and how that world works, so it takes a little bit less to like get into it, but it still has that form of otherworldliness by bringing in fantasy sci-fi elements. And obviously this isn't a totally new concept, but I think we're going to be seeing it starting to grow in 2025. And one book in particular is called Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. This book comes out this year and it's set in the 1970s in America, and it kind of follows like a group of girls in a home that discover the occult. So it has that element of, all right, we know where we are, we're in the 1970s, I know what that looks like, but it brings in a newness to it in how magic is going to function and kind of all of the stuff that is going to be brought up when these young girls start playing with stuff that they don't really know anything about. And another one that sounds really, really interesting to me is called The Buffalo Hunter Hunter. And yes, Hunter is in the title twice. This book is by Stephen Graham Jones, and it is a horror novel that is set in the American West, and they're calling it an American Indian revenge story. So I don't know exactly how that's going to play out, but just hearing that it is a horror genre and there's like this revenge element and this like cowboys versus Indians kind of setting is going to be really, really interesting. So those are just a few of my predictions for 2025 this year. I'm just one person, so I'm curious, what do you guys think? What are your most anticipated releases this year, and how do they align with some of my predictions? Do you notice that maybe some of them are in the same genres that I'm predicting, or am I like totally off the mark for what you actually want to be reading? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you agree with any of my predictions, give this video a thumbs up or share it with your friends. And if you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button. I have so many ideas of things to do with this channel and content to give you guys, so I'm just getting started from here. If you guys have anything you want me to talk about in the publishing industry or as a reader, put it in the comments below and I will do my best to get to it. And I'll see you guys next time.